على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Alhamdulillah. We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity for us to continue with our lesson in the commentary of Aqeedah Sanusiyyah. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with tawfiq and hidayah, bless us with understanding. And may Allah make this lesson a reason where our sins are forgiven, our prayers are answered. May Allah bless us with husnul khatimah and guide us with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yawm al-Qiyamah, Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Just a recap of our previous lesson. We are still within the part where the author is speaking about the proof where the universe is contingent. So last week we spoke about substance and accident. That the universe around us, including ourselves, we are made up of two elements. One is the substance, al-jirm or jawhar, and the other one is the accident. In Arabic we call it al-arad. So I explained many a times the difference between substance and an accident. So basically, when we speak about accident, it is an attribute that subsists within a substance. So for example, the color of a substance, for example, it is an accident. The movement is an accident. Stillness is an accident. So accidents are attributes that do not stand on their own, but they subsist. So we always use this word, they subsist within any substances. And the fact that accidents are subjected to change. Either it is moving or not moving, either it is compounded or not compounded. So these are the proofs that it is a contingent. It is something that is contingent. It cannot be something that is pre-eternal. So inshallah ta'ala, this is basically what we mentioned in our last lesson. Inshallah, we read again the last this paragraph. I believe last week we have covered this, but just to do a bit of revision before we continue. So the author mentioned the rational proof for the contingency of the world is that whatever is linked to a contingent is itself contingent. So last week we were speaking about the fact that accidents are contingent, so substance must be contingent, because there is no such thing as a substance without an accident. So if accidents are contingent, then substances must be contingent. It is impossible that substances are pre-eternal where its accidents are contingent. This is mustahil. And there is no any substance without any accident, and there is no accident without any substance. So both of them are in need of one another. The rational proof for the contingency of the world is that whatever is linked to a contingent is itself contingent. The details of this argument as it pertains to the contingency of substances, and we can conclude that substances are also contingent because of the fact that accidents that subsist within them are contingent. Were substances eternal? Now this is the what you call argument. Were substances eternal? It would entail that they are linked with contingent accident. So now if a person is saying that if substances are eternal, and at the same time you are saying that accidents are contingent, now it is impossible for an eternal to be linked with a contingent. How can an eternal, something that is eternal, which is a substance, be linked with something that is contingent? So where is this contingency when before it was in existence? Because contingent meaning it is preceded by non-existence. So it is impossible. And it is impossible for an eternal to be linked with a contingent. Hence it follows that substances are contingent. This is the argument, and this is the conclusion of the conclusion in the argument, that substances are contingent, the fact that accidents are contingent. So I hope it is clear inshallah ta'ala. So for today, inshallah, our lesson will start here. So we have entered into page 141. All these are the footnotes, and you can read by yourself for your own reading. We are focusing on the matan of the commentary. What we are studying is the commentary of Aqeedah Sanusiyyah. Aqeedah Sanusiyyah is a small kitab. It is something that is concise. Sheikh Said Fuda commented on Aqeedah Sanusiyyah and brought in any other arguments and other notions and explanations from other sources, and that is the thing that is beautiful about this commentary of Sheikh Said Fuda, and the book that we have is a translation of that commentary. The footnotes also written by Sheikh Said Fuda. If you want to see what is Aqeedah Sanusiyyah, you can go to the first few pages where the author place the matan of Aqeedah Sanusiyyah in Arabic, and also there's English translation, and you can refer, then you can see. Because this kind of commentary, you cannot see the difference between where is the matan and where is the commentary, because it is not any differentiated by anything. So it is just explained and together with the matan. You cannot differentiate if you are not aware. But if you go back to the matan of Aqeedah Sanusiyyah and then you look at this, then you will understand, okay, where is the matan and where is the sharh. Ala kulli hal. So now the author mentioned the rational proof for the contingency of accidents. What is the proof that accidents are contingent? So he said the rational proof for the contingency of accident is our observation of their change from non-existence to existence, and their change from existence to non-existence. So basically this is the proof that accidents are contingent. So let me do this example again. I believe I spoke about this kind of example last week also. So this pen is a substance, and the movement now is moving. The movement of this pen is an accident. Now it is moving. Initially it is in stillness. So now it starts moving. So this movement it comes from earlier it was in stillness. Now it is moving. So it has a beginning in this sense. So this we said it has changed from stillness to movement. So this is a sign of contingency. This is a sign of contingency. Initially it was non-existence, now it is in existence. Initially movement is not in existence, now movement is in existence. So anything that is preceded by non-existence or from existence to non-existence, this is a contingent. This is contingency. So this is the rational proof for contingency of accidents is our observation of their change. Last time we are non-existence, now we are in existence. So we are undergoing change. Last time we are small, now we are adult. Last time we are young, now we are old. So this is a concept of change, and this is a rational proof that accidents are contingent because of their change. Any accident we have not observed undergoing such change is still deposed into it. If a person says that there is something that does not change, I have not seen it change. For example, when it comes to mountains, I give for example this example of the pen, easy to see the movement of the pen. But if a person says for example what about the mountain? To him the mountain is in stillness. The mountain is in stillness. But here we ask the question, is it possible that the mountain move? Is it possible that the mountain moves? Yes, it is possible. So although you are seeing and you are observing the mountain in a state of stillness, but it is receptive towards movement. So this is what the author is saying. Any accident we have not observed undergoing such change, like the example of the mountain, we have not observed, for example, mountain moving in front of our eyes, it is still disposed to it because it is receptive towards the movement. This may be compared to the first because both are equal. Both are equal, meaning both of them are subjected to change. Whether you observe or it is something any that is receptive any towards change, it carries any the same ruling. That they share in the basis any of substance. So whatever is true for one is true for the other. So when we say it is a substance, so substance any have accidents, and accidents any are constantly any changing. So if one any substance any is like that, other substances any also are like that, even though you do not observe their change, but it is receptive and it was change. So anything that is receptive and to a change, the ruling any is the same as something any that is changing within any our observation. So I hope it is clear. So the word here is receptive, that it can receive change, although you do not observe that it is changing. Type. Now when we go on to the next part, the author mentioned, notice this rational argument is completed if we say that an accident remains for 2 instances of time. If, however, we say that it does not, then all accident change and it coming into being husul and not receptivity. The syllogism of this argument is as follows. What is the meaning? Type. The author is saying that whatever he mentioned earlier pertaining to this comparison of a substance and another substance, one substance we are seeing that it is undergoing any change, another substance we have not observed any change. But the fact that both of them are substances, so we say that they possess the same characteristics. Although in one of the substance you do not see any change in it, but it is receptive and it was change. So we do qiyas, we do a comparison, and we do an analogy that even though that we have not observed any is change, but due to the fact that it is a substance, so it is receptive and towards change. So this is a kind of analogy. But this is an analogy that we do if what you got it for the fact that some people say that the accident is something that is there, not something that is created at every moment. Because the scholars of Kalam, the scholars of Aqeedah, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates the accident at each and every moment. What is the meaning? For example, when you look at this bottle, this is blue in color. This is blue in color. Is the color blue something that is consistent, or it is something that is created again and again? And when you look at this and it is blue in color, so this accident in the form of color, it is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala each and every moment. Each and every moment this accident is a creation. This is the view of the scholars of Kalam. But now the author is saying that even for the sake of argument, for people for example who does not agree to this or does not believe in this, for example, they say that this color is still there. This color is the same color, not something that is created newly. It has been there. It has been there for every minute, for every hour, it is the same color. It is not something that has been created. For the sake of argument, the author say, even if you believe in this understanding, that is, we can also understand that it is contingent by using analogy. Since it is a substance, and this accident subsists within this particular substance, and it undergoes any change, so it is contingent. But for those who claim, or for those who say, the scholars in Kalam, for example, when they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who creates an accident in each and every moment, we are not in need of any analogy. Because in reality, this creation of the accident itself is a change. So we are not in need to do an analogy to other substances by saying that we observe any change in other substances. So all substances must also be subjected to change. That is in a situation where we are using this analogy because of the understanding that this accident, it is subsisting, not something that is created in each and every moment. So either or, basically what the author is saying, either or, whether you believe that accidents are created in each and every moment, or accidents has been there and it subsists within the substance, both of these understanding, it leads to the conclusion that accidents are contingent. This basically what it is saying. Let us read this again. This rational argument is completed if we say that an accident remains for two instances of time. What is the meaning 2 instances of time? This is the example that I gave, that it is the same color 1 second ago and now, or 10 minutes ago and now. To zamanain, it is the same blue color. It is the same blue color, not something that is newly created. This is the meaning of 2 instances at time. So he said that this rational argument is if we were to say that an accident remains for 2 instances of time, meaning it is not created every moment. If, however, we say that it does not, then all accidents change with the coming into being, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created the accident again and again. It is created into being husul, hasala, it receives. Receives meaning this creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not any receptivity, not something that stays within then that substance. So this is the difference between saying that accidents are created in each and every moment, and accidents are and remains for the different times. Then he mentioned the syllogism of this argument, and is as follows. Now we have this terminology which we call it the syllogism, and this is a knowledge of mantiq. Although in our class we have not come into this chapter of syllogism, the chapter of al-qiyas. In our class and in mantiq and on Wednesday night, in last week I think, or last 2 weeks, I gave the example of qiyas, of syllogism. So syllogism is a form of how we want to construct an argument. So there must be premises and there must be conclusion. So this is an example of how the author now use this argument, the kalam argument, to prove that the accidents are contingent. So he said, if accidents were eternal, they will not change. This is the first premise. If accidents were eternal, they would not change, because something that is eternal cannot change. This is a principle. Something that is eternal cannot change, because now when it undergo change meaning, it is contingent. It is begun with something. Because it is impossible for the eternal to change. So this is the first premise. It is impossible for the pre-eternal or eternal to change. Premise number 2, but it is impossible to negate change from accidents. And you cannot imagine that accidents that does not change. Impossible. How can accidents does not change? How can it does not change? When it comes for example, existence and non-existence. Last time it was not in existence and now it's in existence. Just now it was moving, now it's not any moving. These are accidents. How can you say that accidents that does not any change? Accidents are constantly changing, correct or not? Accidents are constantly changing. Are there something is moving or not moving? So this is a kind of an accident. It is impossible to negate change from accidents. Meaning accidents must always change, because their change is observable. It is by observation that we see the color of things, we see the movement of things, and we see the existence of things, and so on and so forth. So these are based on our observation that they are contingent. Therefore, accidents are not eternal. Accidents are not internal, but they are contingent. Now, so these are again the proof for the argument that accidents are not eternal, they are contingent. So if accidents are contingent, then substances that is subsisted in are also contingent. And since this universe is made up of substances and accidents, then this universe is contingent. So basically it's the same as what we mentioned last week. So I hope it is clear, insha'Allah ta'ala. Then he said, you should know that there are 7 foundations upon which the rational proof for the world's contingency is built. Okay, this is important. For those who are serious and studying Aqeedah, you should learn about all these things. This is important, especially those who are speaking about philosophy and all these things. The first thing you have to build this foundation first. You have to build these foundations first. So this is within the knowledge of ilmul kalam. that we must understand about some of these things pertaining to substances pertaining to the accidents and proving about the contingency of the universe and substances and accidents. So this is very, 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 very important. And this is the tradition that our scholars have come forth. So it is important today that we learn and we understand, so that we get the benefit. So now the author is saying there are 7 foundations for the proof that the world is contingent. Tamam. So let us look at point number 1. He said, point number 1, affirming something additional to a substance. Affirming something additional to a substance and accident. Now, when we look at the nature of an accident, we say that an accident is an additional to a substance. It's something that is additional to a substance. So it is something that is different than the substance, and it is something that subsists within the substance. Now this is the first part. That accident is something additional to a substance. Number 2, invalidating the view that it is self-subsistent. An accident, now he's speaking about accident. An accident cannot stand on its own. An accident cannot stand on its own. So let me repeat this again. The color of this bottle is an accident. Can the color of this bottle stand on its own? This is the meaning of self-subsistent. Can it stand on its own? No, impossible. Impossible for an accident to stand on its own. Can the movement of this bottle stand on its own? Meaning you have an essence that is called movement? No. But it subsists within the substance. This bottle is a substance. The color of the bottle is an accident. The movement of this bottle is an accident. It does not stand on its own, but it subsists within this essence, or within this entity. We call it an entity or an essence, or the substance. So, invalidating the view that it is self-subsistent, meaning accidents are not self-subsistent. Accidents are not self-subsistent. But an entity is self-subsistent. You cannot take the place of an entity. But when it comes into accident, it subsists within an entity. Number 3, invalidating the view that it can displace itself. What you call it, the view that it can move from one place from another place. An accident is something as what we mentioned that it subsists within a substance. When we understand that it is not in the self-subsistence, so it depends on the substance. It depends on the substance. So by itself it cannot stand, and by itself it cannot move from one place to another place. Clear, inshallah? It cannot move from one place to another place. This is the meaning, the view that it can displace itself. So this is invalid when it comes to accident. Number 4, invalidating the view of its manifestation or concealment. What is the meaning? An example is this. Now I'm saying, for example, this bottle is in stillness. This bottle is in stillness. If I say that this bottle is stillness, I cannot be saying, but actually it is moving inside. No, that does not work for accident. Either it is moving or not moving. So I cannot be saying that it is moving, but inside, as what he mentioned, it is concealed. That within its concealment, it is moving. So it is not correct. So when we say this is not moving, it is not moving. So it cannot be moving and not moving at the same time. It cannot be moving and not moving at the same time. So invalidating the view of its manifestation or concealment. So it is something that is seen, whether it is in existence or not in existence, whether any it is moving or not any moving. So accidents any are what you call it such any that we can ascertain on its what you call it situation and on its any properties. Number 5, establishing that it is impossible for something eternal to cease in its existence. That's what any the saying, and it goes, Al-Qadim la yan'adim. Yani if something any that is pre-eternal, it cannot cease in existence, meaning it cannot disappear. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot change. Pre-eternal, something any that is pre-eternal cannot change. For example, and we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pre-eternal in his existence. So it is impossible any for him any to cease any in existence. Pre-eternal does not cease any in existence. And to say that pre-eternal cease any in existence, this is any mustahil. This is impossible. Affirming that substances are inseparable any from this any addition, the accident. It is impossible any for substances to be separated from accident. It is impossible any for substances any to be separated any from yani accident. Yani, an example any of movement any, for example. Can you any separate the substance any from movement, from its movement? Can you separate? No. Because why? Because the movement any subsists any within the substance. Just like any the color, just like any the height. Can you remove any the height any of this bottle any from this bottle? Just the height. Impossible, correct or not? So this is impossible. That you cannot remove an accident from a substance. It is inseparable. It is inseparable. Number 7, establishing the impossibility of contingencies without yani a first. Hawadis la awwala laha. It is impossible any for a contingent being or contingencies without any a beginning. Mustahil. How can you have a contingent, something that is contingent but has no beginning? This will lead to tasalsul, infinite any regression. So if you say that something any that is contingent, meaning what? Meaning it has a beginning. But to say that something that is contingent but has no beginning, then any you are in need any to ask any the question, what is the thing that brought it into existence? And then the one that brought it into existence, if it is also any contingent, then we have to ask any the question, what is the thing that brought it into existence? So it is never ending, infinite. We call it infinite regression, a tasalsul. And this is any impossible. Tasalsul is muhal. Tasalsul, infinite any regression any is infinite any regression any is any impossible. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us any with tawfiq. Now, and then after that, the author explain any further. All these 7 foundations, and by giving what you call it, by giving some examples. So now we will look at the one. So now when we look at this, this is the next page, page 143. So this is the point number 1 earlier. He said affirming something additional. Affirming something additional into a substance, an accident. This to affirm something additional to a substance with which the substance is described, such as movement, stillness, and the like. This is self-evident, and in no need any of proof. There is not a single intelligent person except that he senses additional attributes within himself. So when we speak about accident, we are saying that accident, it is an addition to the substance. An addition to the substance. It subsists within that substance, and it is something that is additional. So he gave an example such as movement. That's what we mentioned. The movement of a substance. The stillness of a substance. We say that this is an an accident. So now we have any the substance and we have any movement. And so this movement is something that is additional. This movement is something that is any additional, and this is any something that is self-evident. So this movement change, correct or not? Now it is moving, now it is not, now it is not any moving. But as far as the substance is concerned, the substance is still the substance is still the substance. So now we have the movement, and this is something that is changing. So there is not a single intelligent person except that he senses any additional attributes within himself. Just like when we say, for example, human beings, sometimes we are sick, sometimes we are healthy, correct or not? This sickness and health, it is an accident. So this is something that we can sense. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad. Last time we are young, now we are old, correct or not? So these are the changes that we feel by within ourselves. So this is something that is additional to our substances or to our body. So inshallah I will stop here. So I hope that for next week inshallah try to revise these 7 foundations. So inshallah we will go through one by one in our class. Next week then inshallah ta'ala, if we have time, we will enter into the next part where he said Burhanu Wujubil Qidam. So after we speak about